recipe for meatloaf. Unfortunately, the newsletter happened to coincide exactly with the passing of singer and actor Marvin Lee Aday.
Yeah, Marvin Lee Aday.
By his stage name, Meatloaf. He passed away last week of COVID-related issues at 74. And this is USA Radio News.
The greatest radio shows of all time.
Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune.
Classic radio theater.
Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
This is theatrical rock and roll was some of the best.
What's his name? What's his name?
Michael Lee Aday.
You got his name?
Yep. Got his name right here.
By searching for classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox. That's classic radio theater with Wyatt Cox.
Moscow is firing back at the UK after it accused the Kremlin of trying to install a pro-Russian leader in Ukraine. The Russian Foreign Ministry telling the Russian news agency the UK should, quote, stop spreading nonsense. The spokesperson claiming misinformation spread by the British Foreign Office is evidence NATO is responsible for escalating the tensions around Ukraine. The family of Sidney Poitier is planning to hold a private memorial service for the late actor. As family members said Friday, a more public memorial service could still take place once COVID-19 numbers decrease, as they say they hopefully will soon. Details on where Poitier will be laid to rest have not been disclosed. The groundbreaking actor died on January 6th at 94. Those wishing to honor his memory are being urged to donate to the United Negro College Fund and the Alzheimer's Association. And semiconductor giant Intel is planning to open a $20 billion chip plant in Ohio, probably by the end of 2025. Company officials made that announcement, noting the plant will employ upwards of 3,000 people and will urge good money, too, average salaries of $135,000 a year. I'm applying. The plant will be located on a 1,000-acre property near Columbus. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
They were talking about they were talking about Intel there.
Yeah, his voice was wrecked last week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was sick.
Was he?
He was sick, I think.
Yeah. What's his name? Frank Barnes?
Something Barnes. Yeah. Matt Barnes? No.
No, Frank Barnes.
Frank Barnes. Something Barnes. Yeah.
What's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the
Frank Barnes, yeah.
Weekend Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WVBF.
Red Mike.
Hey,
Red Mike?
Joey, what's happening?
Alright. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Middleboro in Review. It is the 23rd of January, 2022. I want to start off today's program just in remembrance of Meatloaf. He was one of a kind. His theatrical rock and roll, one of a kind. No one else has ever done it. His really unique voice. We'll talk a little bit about him here in this first segment. Don, good morning.
Good morning, Joey. How are you doing on this cold January morning?
I'm
Winter
well.
is here. Last week was cold,
yeah.
wasn't it? Was it cold last week? Or was
It was cold last week. Yeah,
cold. It's still cold. It's cold in the studio too a little bit. There's a lot of windows. Actually, there's 3 windows in the plush VBF studios here at 14 Church Green in Taunton, Massachusetts.
Yeah,
They're nice windows, and it's a real beautiful studio here. We keep talking about that. And Barry Sanders did get his plush 22 century.
He did.
When we moved here from the other place. But yeah, January's January, right?
Yes.
It's how it is in New England. It was cold last week. We had a crazy little snowstorm, little snow squall in Middleboro on Friday, right?
Yes.
It's funny too because
Actually, no, we got it Saturday.
we
were supposed to.
and Friday too.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Well, you don't notice much sometimes when you're off.
Well, no, it didn't. It didn't hit the ground. We were supposed to get a snow squall on Thursday that was gonna accumulate some snow. and that didn't happen.
It was blowing around like weird. But on Friday, I had deliveries down in Situate. And I'm driving down Route 3A, and I'm did a few in Hingham, drove through Cohasset, Route 3A, anybody knows that area. And I drove into North Situate, down 3A. And by the time I got to South Situate, down where the Rotary is, there was like 2 inches of snow on the ground. All the driveways were covered. Wind was blowing. I was like, what's going on here?
Wow.
So I did a few, came back into Cohasset again, and it was nothing. There was nothing in Quincy on the ground. There was nothing in Hingham. There was nothing in Weymouth. There was nothing. It was weird. It was just like this snow line was right there. Central Situate, I call it. Because even in North Situate, it wasn't really that bad. But you drive like 2 miles to the south, it's a whole different world. It's weird how
Yeah, it is weird
the snow was.
how that happened.
It
Yeah.
was just weird snow. It was cold, and it's gonna be cold this week, and it's cold today, and it's gonna be cold next week, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's winter, so
it's winter, so that's cold.
That's what you would expect.
Right.
Anyway, Dawn, we lost Meatloaf this week.
Yes, it was very sad. I grew up with him. It was. I remember that video, Paradise at the Dashboard Light. That was a great video. The co-singer there, the woman who sang, always like, they were awesome, both of them, back and forth,
Yeah.
singing back and forth. I mean, no one really did that in rock,
No.
especially with that song.
Yeah.
That song was like, they were fighting. They were like back and forth. It was like it was like a boyfriend, girlfriend fighting back and forth singing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was good because it was an opera too. It was a story. It was an opera. I'm not sure who that female singer was. Maybe we should look that up.
I can look that
because,
up
I
during
mean,
this
that's-
segment, yeah.
Because that's obviously anybody who knows Meatloaf knows that song.
Yes.
That's the song that everyone knows. Even if you weren't really into his other stuff. And I know he was in a movie too called Road Dog or something with Patrick Swayze. He was like the bad guy. I think it was Road Dog or something. I'm not 100% sure. I remember seeing that movie. But yeah, he had quite a life. It's sad he was taken from us. 74 is
Yeah.
pretty young if you think about it these days.
His real name, Michael Lee Aday. He's noted for his wide-ranging voice and theatrical live shows. His Bat Out of Hell trilogy sold more than 65 million albums worldwide. The first album stayed on the charts for over 9 years, and more than 4 decades after release, still sells an estimated 200,000 copies annually. It's one of the best-selling albums in history.
Yeah.
It's really good album.
No one sang like him. It was almost it was a presentation. And Paradise by the Dashboard Light. Paradise by the Dashboard Light was like one of the most. It was just really iconic. I think, in my opinion, it was really. I don't know. It's tough to throw words at that. It was just more than great. It was just. I don't know. I can't really throw a word at that because it was just moving, that particular song. But I mean, the other singer too made it, actually. But you should try to figure out who that was before, maybe
Yep.
the next break or something.
He got his start. He got his major start appearing in the Rocky, doing a song in the Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack. And then he worked on a couple of songs with Ted Nugent on Ted Nugent's second album that came out in 1976, Free For All. Very good songs. I would recommend that album. Writing on the Wall, Street Rats, Hammer Down, Together, and I Love You, So I Told a Lie. Those are the songs that he appears on that album. Very good songs and very good album. I definitely recommend that album.
Now, Bad Hell of Hell came out like in '79. That was his hit.
Bad Out of Hell came out in 77.
'77. Okay,
Yes,
right.
he came out in 77. The second album, the second Bat Out of Hell came out in 93, and the third and final Bat Out of Hell came out in 2006.
Okay.
And he had albums, of course, between those.
Yes.
And
he did some Broadway. He did some Broadway work too, right?
yes, he was in Hair.
Okay.
He was in Hair. His movies, Rocky Picture Show.
Yep.
He was in that. He was in Roadie. That came out in 1980. There's some other stuff here. Wayne's World, which came out in 1992.
Oh yeah, I remember him being in that. Everyone was in that movie. What else?
And some other stuff here.
What's the other one? I'm trying to think of the movie I was talking about. It was Road Dog or something like that. It was a truck driving movie. Patrick Swayze was in it. You see that?
Roadie?
No.
Was it Roadie?
No, this came out like in, I don't know, the late 90s.
Okay, late 90s.
Yeah, I'm thinking early. Well, Patrick Swayze is gone, so.
He was in Fight Club.
Yeah, I remember that. He was in Fight Club, wasn't he? What else he got for movies? Nothing? I'm just trying to figure out that movie.
I'm looking.
I liked it. Actually, I saw that at the movies. It had to been about 94, 95, somewhere around there. I know Patrick Swayze was in it. But whatever. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
Oh, Black Dog.
Black Dog. That's what it was. Yes. That was a good movie. Black Dog, yeah.
Black Dog, yep.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Of course, he was the bad guy in that one. And Patrick Swayze, of course, was the good guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're just, if you're listening, if you want to listen to some music today, I recommend Meatloaf. Bat Out of Hell from 1977, the second Bat Out of Hell from 1993, and the 2006 Bat Out of Hell as well are all good. And he's got some good stuff in between, and the Ted Nugent stuff that he worked on as well, I also recommend 100%.
Or a movie.
Movies, really anything he was in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was very surprising,
Yeah.
hearing that news. He died on Friday, right?
He died, I think it was Friday, yes. Yeah. So, rest in peace, Meatloaf. All right, weather. 16 degrees outside right now in Taunton. It is cold outside. It's going to be that way for a couple of days. Tuesday it's supposed to be in the 40s, which is going to be nice. But it's going to be cold for a while. I would assume it's going to be cold for the next couple of weeks. So, it's winter. In Middleboro, 15 degrees. And same weather, pretty much. Driscoll, Texas, 51 degrees outside.
Oh, I would love that. Oh, boy. Give me some of that.
That's warm, yeah, that's warm.
It's actually kind of chilly for Texas, but...
It is chilly for Texas.
No.
Especially the area that Driscoll, Texas is in.
I think the whole country's cold.
Yeah. 58 degrees today for the high. Cloudy. Texas, that area of Texas, Driscoll, Texas, won't see the sun until Tuesday. It'll be cloudy today and rain tomorrow. 70 for Tuesday, so still pretty nice weather. Driscoll, North Dakota. A big goose egg, 0 outside right now. And a low of 1 tonight with some...
A low of 1?
A low of 1.
So
negative 1.
Oh,
actually.
negative 1.
Negative
okay, so
1.
it's going down, not up.
Well, that's a low tonight of negative 1.
Okay.
36 degrees for the high today.
Oh, okay.
A high of 3 tomorrow, and a high of negative 2 on Tuesday. So it's not even going to get into the positives on Tuesday. It will stay in the negatives all day in Driscoll, North Dakota.
Wow.
It's winter. That's
It's winter.
what to expect.
Especially in North Dakota.
In North Dakota.
We got to take a ride out. We going out there this summer?
That would be cool to do so.
That's it.
Be cool to do so.
We should have to rent a car.
Maybe film an interview with
Yeah. Well, I know
somebody
the one.
from there.
I know the one restaurant
That'd be
closed
cool.
down. I looked into it. I just tried. Yeah, I even called a couple places. I got nothing. Got nothing.
All right, 7:19. We're going to take a quick commercial break. when we come back, we're going to have a continuation. If you caught Thursday's show, I started a little thing talking about towns that are celebrating milestones or have celebrated major milestones recently. So we are going to be talking a little bit about that when we come back here on Middleboro in Review. You're listening to Middleboro in Review. Today is January 23rd, 2022. And you're listening to us on WVVF 1530 AM 99.7 FM. We'll be right back, everybody. Have a great couple of minutes while we while we wait.
Have a great go through the commercial.
Have a great listen to the commercials.
We're not signing off yet, Joe.
No.
20 past.
Okay. Have a great couple of minutes while we do a commercials. We'll be right back. All right. For a great couple of minutes when we do commercials.
You like that?
Oh well, I don't know.
Coffee's delicious this morning.
Combat veteran motorcycles.
I gotta go do a job branching. I ain't looking forward to it.
Combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride motorcycles as a hobby.
Yeah, it's
Our
icy.
mission is to support
Today.
those who have defended our country
It's icy today. It's gonna be icy until
The
later.
lady called me, right? After I called her. I was supposed to look at it yesterday.
Yeah.
She didn't come back in time.
or simply
Ah.
And I was like, all right, well. And then she put some guy on the phone. I don't know who he was. He was like, how much? I said, I don't know. Someone said I got a quarter load in the truck and three quarters of a load, so it's like 500. 500? Oh! How about 4? I got mad. I started yelling at him. I lost it.
Yeah, no.
I should have lost it.
500's 500. You're not gonna get any less
I
than
said,
that.
I'm not Monty Hall. I'm not, not going down. And then she says, oh, come. And then she calls me back apologizing. Oh, I was thinking about just not even doing it.
That's funny.
This is Martha Cookin, your host for Medicaid.
That's great.
Coffee didn't last long. I got 3 more steps.
On health,
Done.
legal, and lifestyle issues that affect you and your family.
I'll get some more.
It's fascinating.
I'll buy some more when I leave there.
As we explore all aspects of the Medicare.
I go down to Wareham, get my truck, and then go meet Greg at 9:30.
Saturday
Yeah.
morning,
And then I gotta go do the job. And I have to go back, drop all my tools, and drop him off into his truck, and then back to Wareham.
WVBF,
And I'll go see
your
Uncle Tom.
hometown radio station.
Spark Street Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street in Brockton, Massachusetts.
So I have 4 towns
Collision repair and complete auto service for your
plus a fun fact about each.
Maybe we can segue into the lost towns for next week.
Yeah, we'll do that.
How's that
next-
sound?
Yeah, we'll do that at the end of the show. We'll
Yeah,
just
yeah,
say,
yeah, we'll talk
next
about
week, tune
Well,
in.
no, we'll segue into it.
Yeah.
I'll talk about sacrificing things.
Oh, so you'll talk about
Well,
next
that'll be
week
my rant, sort of.
for next week.
No, that'll be
Oh,
rant today.
okay,
We'll
yeah.
segue into it.
Segue
And
into.
then we'll set it up. Maybe we can watch some documentaries
Yeah.
about it, because it's really fascinating.
It is. It is. Yeah, so I have 4 towns here.
We just need
the
to
letter
walk.
B today.
B.
The letter B today.
Barry, not Bear, alright?
It's Barry. Okay, I got it.
Alright?
Like Barry Sanders.
Barry. It's, B, and think about B-A-R-E, Barry. You know what I mean?
Barry, yeah.
It's, that's how they should spell it, not with a Y. Barry is more.
Yeah.
I'm not an English major. Some English majors, oh my god, look what he's saying, oh my god, he can't do it.
Not, yeah.
Who's listening, anybody?
Looks like a few people. Alright, let me get this back up here. Alright. And we're back here on Middleboro in review. It is the 23rd of January. So on Thursday, I started a little project, I would say, about towns that are celebrating or have celebrated a recent milestone. And I did the letter A, plus I did a couple of other ones. I did talked about Plymouth, I talked about Brockton. Brockton celebrated 200. last year. So I talked a little bit about that. Talked about Plymouth and how they celebrated 400. So that started an idea that I would talk about more towns in Massachusetts that are celebrating a major milestone. So today is the letter B, and I have 4. The first one is Barry, incorporated in 1774. So it has just celebrated, or it will be celebrating, 250 years coming up in 2024. So 250 years coming up for Barry. It is a town in Worcester County in Massachusetts. Population 5,530 at the 2020 census. On November 7th, 1776, it was renamed Barry in honor of Colonel Isaac Barry, an Irish-born MP who was a champion of American independence. Starting in the 1800s, the Boston, Barry, and Gardner Railroad provided rail service to the town. Don, little thoughts about that?
Well, the spelling.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the spelling?
It's B-A-R-R-E.
You know?
Yep.
People say it's beer.
No.
It's Barry.
Yeah, I even mistakenly said that.
You know, usually Y is Barry. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the spelling of pretty much was it general, is it?
Yeah.
So, it's funny.
An MP.
Yeah, it's funny.
An Irish MP.
Yeah. So, you know, you're going to find a lot of these towns were named after, like the old lost town of Prescott, Massachusetts, which is underneath the Quabbin Reservoir now.
Yeah.
Was Colonel Prescott, I believe. Been researching that a little bit about that. It's fascinating, the Quabbin. But, yeah, to get back to Barry, it's a nice little area. It's north of the Turnpike. So I think if you get up off of Palmer, that exit there, and you head north, and I think it's 31 on one of those roads, you'll run into it.
The second one we have Bellingham, incorporated in 1719. So back in 2019, it celebrated 300 years. It is a town in Norfolk County, Massachusetts. The population was 16,945 at the 2020 census. The town sits on the southwestern fringe of metropolitan Boston, along with rapidly growing outer belt, that is Route 495. It is formerly a part of the Boston, Cambridge, and Quincy metropolitan statistical area, as well as the Providence metropolitan area. So it's a part of pretty much metropolitan. It sits right on the fringe of the metropolitan Boston area, which is a huge area.
You said it was Norfolk County?
Norfolk County, yeah.
Wow. I'm scratching my head on that one. Because that borders Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
And
Okay.
the metropolitan areas are very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk about that in the future, how metropolitan areas
Yeah, it
work.
borders
Because I'm not sure
Woonsocket.
how they work.
And it's nestled off of 495 there.
I guess it's in like several different metropolitan areas. I don't know how that works.
Close to the Providence. It's in Woonsocket's back door. So I mean, I think the growth of that town has a lot to do with Woonsocket, because
Yes.
Woonsocket was a bustling city. You know, back. I mean, with the mills, the water power they had there, and the Blackstone Canal, right there. That was the superhighway. Before the railroads. I mean, in the 1830s and 1840s, before the railroads was really up and running, that was the superhighway from Providence to Worcester.
Yeah. Beverly is next. Beverly incorporated in 1668 as a town. Now I have to say as a town, because Beverly is a city right now, as we speak. But it was incorporated in 1668 as a town. And that will be coming up on, or it has already approached its 350th and that was back in 2018. So it's a city in Essex County, and that is a suburb of Boston. It is a suburb of Boston, Beverly. The population was about 42,670 at the time of the last census, 2020. A resort, residential, and manufacturing community on the Massachusetts North Shore. Beverly includes Ryleside, Beverly Farms, and Pride's Crossing. Beverly is a rival of Marblehead for the title of being the birthplace of the U.S. Navy. Interesting one.
Well, that's to be determined, because the other town that takes says they did the first is Ticonderoga, New York.
Yeah.
So but Ticonderoga, New York was technically landlocked. It was on the Lake Champlain. That was on the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm sure all three, Marblehead, Ticonderoga, and Beverly, have good arguments.
I'd say Beverly, but Ticonderoga says, hey, they got a replica of the first ship built.
And Marblehead says other stuff too. So.
Oh, really? Then we got to all get them on the horn and find out.
We have to find out who it is.
I like Beverly, north of Salem, and it's nice. You take the commuter rail right up there.
Yep.
You go right through Beverly, Salem, and Beverly. Go over the little bridge there where the river is, and it's really nice. Pride's Crossing, I think, is where the commuter rail splits, and it goes up to Rockport. And I remember seeing that. It's funny, the trains don't blow their whistle on that line. I take that Rockport line for some reason. It's been that way forever. I think there was an engineer back in the 60s or the 70s who used to blow his horn at 1 a.m. like crazy. He was a nut. And, he just wanted to wake everyone up. If he was up, everyone was up.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the folklore of why they got rid of the whistles. I read a little bit about that, and I watched a few documentaries on why that happened. So Beverly's nice.
Yeah, and our last one, Brookfield, incorporated in 1718. So it has celebrated its 300th birthday back in 2018. It is a town in Worcester County, Massachusetts. Population of 3,439 at the last census, the 2020 census. In August of 1675, King Philip's War reached central Massachusetts. Brookfield, one of the most isolated settlements in the colony, was attacked by Nipmuc forces. After ambush, the town was besieged. For 2 days, the townsfolk, consisting of 80 people, sought shelter in the garrison house, while the rest of the town was completely destroyed. The settlement lay abandoned for 12 years. So, Brookfield is our last one for the letter B. Don, a little thoughts about Brookfield?
Route 9.
Route 9. Route 9?
Yeah, and a little east of Quabbin Reservoir.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. I've been through there. I took a ride off the Quabbin recently in September. Checked out the Quabbin, but I remember going through Brookfield, and yeah, it's beautiful country out there. A lot of people don't realize how beautiful central and western Massachusetts is. It's like a lot of people go to New Hampshire, Maine to get away from it all. You don't have to. You just hit just west of Worcester.
Yeah. You
got towns like Princeton. You got Rutland. You got all those towns out there that are just so nice, and they're hilly, and so a lot of people don't realize what we have in our backyard in Massachusetts.
Yeah. All right. So that is the letter B for today.
All right.
I don't know when I'll do the next one, letter C, but I'll let everyone know about that. But moving towards, I didn't do Brockton because I've already done that the first time I did this on Thursday. When we get to the letter P, Plymouth won't be in it because I've talked about Plymouth already. So as we move through the alphabet, there'll be different towns.
Everyone's going to be a long time before we get to P.
Yes.
It'll be August or something, you know? It won't be 16 degrees out.
Well, we'll see. If I do it every week, I don't know.
You should try to do it.
I will try to do it every week, yeah.
It's a long... It takes you a while, though. So
It will.
You got to make sure you have the time, you know?
It will,
So
yeah.
you
But
you can't commit to that every week. If
you know,
you got
the letter
bustling
A
news.
was... The letter A, I think it had a couple, 4 or 5.
Well, if you got bustling news in Middleboro, you know, you can't be talking about Rehoboth or something.
Yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
Rehoboth, or Rutland or something.
Yeah.
All
right.
Going on in Middleboro. We have any Middleboro news. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
Well, we do have blood drives.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to talk about that. Blood drives that's extremely important. Talking about that the past couple of weeks, and really for the past 2 years since the pandemic started. I don't know if it's fully because of the pandemic, but blood drives, the blood supply for the Red Cross has been low, and it has been at historic low levels. So any blood drives that are out there, it's extremely important for anyone to go out and give blood if possible. And we have a couple to talk about. Monday, January 31st, at the Senior Center Council of Aging at 1 Deer Crossing, Lakeville. So the Lakeville Senior Center, and Council of Aging as well, for Lakeville. 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday, February the 7th, Church of Our Savior, 60 Union Street, Middleboro. That is their monthly blood drive. They have one every month. First week of the month, I think they have one. 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. On Thursday, February 17th, 2022, Coannet Community Health Center, 5 Wally Kruger Way, Bridgewater, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, February 19th, Lakeville United Church of Christ, 1 Precinct Street in Lakeville, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. February 25th, Friday, February 25th, Christ Community Church, 41 Stephen Street, East Taunton, 02718. That is the zip code for East Taunton. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on that one. All right, that is blood drives. Again, give blood if you're able to. Okay. Now, our next thing I want to talk about, we have a few minutes before we take a commercial break, is I want to talk about 2 things. I want to talk about the NFL. There's been some upsets in the NFL. I want to talk a little bit about that. And I also would like to talk about possibility of a couple of different Super Bowls that are going to happen. And also, I'd like to talk a little bit about some basketball, too, in this segment. The first thing is the divisional round took place, and it was an interesting one. This past weekend, a lot of interesting stuff going on. There was also a possibility that we're gonna see. I'm not sure, but it's a possibility that we're gonna see some classic Super Bowl matchups. Probably just one classic Super Bowl matchup. And that Super Bowl matchup is, and this is becoming more and more of a possibility as the weeks go on, as these 2 teams survive and move on to the next rounds, and that is the Bengals and the 49ers. The Bengals defeated the Titans 19-16 in the divisional round. They move on to the AFC Championship game. In the NFC divisional round, the 49ers defeated the Packers, which was a major upset.
I can't believe the Packers are up.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's a
Did you watch
big
the
upset.
game?
The Packers had control of most of the game.
No,
and then,
did you watch the game?
Yeah, yes. Parts of it, yeah. The Packers had control for most of the game. They had the upper hand. You know, they had the home field advantage to the cold weather in their pocket, but the fourth quarter came and the 49ers woke up and the Packers were doomed. It wasn't meant to be. So the Packers are going home. Aaron Rodgers once again is frustrated in the playoffs. Again, he's just suffered a lot of heartbreak the past couple of years in the playoffs. And I'm sure he's fed up with that as well. I mean, there was talk at the beginning of the season that he was fed up with the team. Who knows what's going to happen in the offseason? If he's out, if he is no longer a Packer, I don't know what will happen in the playoffs. I mean, in the offseason for the Packers. We'll see what happens. But heartbreaking loss for the Green Bay Packers. So the 49ers and the Bengals move on to the respective AFC championship round games. They await the Bills and the Chiefs. Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC. The winner of that one goes on to face the Bengals. And in the NFC, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Rams. And when it comes to possible Super Bowl matchup, the San Francisco 49ers and the Bengals have played before in the Super Bowl twice. The first one, 1982, when Joe Montana was the quarterback of the 49ers. They won, the 49ers, by 5 in that one. In Super Bowl 16? Yes, I think that is what it is, 16. And that was in 1982 at the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan, the famous Pontiac Silverdome. That was the first matchup that they had together. The next one happened at the end of the decade, the 80s, the end of the 80s, and that one was also a pretty significant one and a pretty famous one as well. And that was Super Bowl 23, and that was in 1989. That was, at the time...
Super Bowl what?
Super Bowl 23.
23?
So they faced off twice before, the Bengals and the 49ers, in Super Bowl 16 and Super Bowl 23. And there is a possibility that they will face off once again. I mean, if they do, they move on to the Super Bowl and win their respective championship games. We'll see what happens there. I'm not gonna.
It's funny. It's tough.
It's too early to say.
I mean, all the teams we thought were in are out, and
yes. But if those two teams who won the Super Bowl, there is plenty of history there. Of course, the quarterbacks today, Joe Burrow and Jimmy Garoppolo. So interesting matchups there. The next thing I want to talk about is the Maine Celtics, who are the G League, the NBA G League affiliate of the Celtics. They had a really good game yesterday where they defeated the Westchester Knicks last night, and that was a really good game for them, the Maine Celtics. They did very well, and also, get the score here, 142-117 was the score, Maine Celtics versus the Westchester Knicks. And
that's a high score.
Yeah. The Celtics did very well. The Maine Celtics.
That's
they did
high,
very, very well.
Score.
They 26 made threes and a franchise record of 41 assists. A franchise record 38 points as well for one of the players. And boy, they were good. They were really good. 27 points in the fourth quarter for one of the players. They did very well. And the Maine Celtics moved to 4-3 on the year. It's still an early season so far, but that's good news. When you're dropping 142 points in a game, that's usually pretty good news. And breaking franchise records, that's pretty good news for that team. I think they are very well. I think they're in good hands with the players that they have. So anyway, that is your sports segment. It is 7:44 a.m. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about... when we come back from break, we will say what we're going to talk about. And be right back here on Middleboro Review. It is 7:45 a.m. on the 23rd of January 2022. You're listening, once again, Middleboro Review on WVBF 1530 AM 99.7 FM. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, good. I don't know what I'm talking about from last time. You want to do your rant next?
Yeah, I'm going to segue into the show. Yeah.
I don't have anything for the last segment, really.
All right. Well, you got,
I do have a story sitting here. Yeah, I have today in history. I do have a story sitting here.
what?
There's a large container ship that, hold on, let me get my sports, let me get my ads together.
If you are
There we
sick
go.
of COVID-19 or think you might have it, stay home except to get medical care. Monitor your symptoms.
Connolly Container Terminal welcomes largest container ship to ever dock in Boston.
Yeah, that happened last week, right?
Yeah, that happened last week.
If we have
time.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think I'm going to talk too much.
Wear a mask over your mouth.
I'll you know.
Be around other people.
Well, I'm going to do that story then.
With a tissue
I'm going to do that
or
story.
sneeze.
And then you let me do it.
And then you'll do your rant, yeah.
With soap
All
or
right.
water, or use hand sanitizer,
fine.
especially after coughing or sneezing.
I'll do that
As
story
much as
next.
possible,
Yeah.
stay in a separate room and away from others in your home. Avoid
We
sharing
have time.
personal household items such as dishes, utensils, towels, or bedding. Wash these items thoroughly after using them. And clean all surfaces that are touched often, like counters and doorknobs, every day. To learn more, visit cdc.gov.
St. Vincent de Paul of Sacred Heart Church in Middleboro serves the residents of the towns of Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester.
Good.
Our base of operations is in the
Update
lower
the
level
news.
of the parish
Perfect.
hall
Good.
on Oak Street, directly across the street from Sacred Heart Church in downtown Middleboro. At this time, we serve approximately 500 families in our service area, and many of them come to us for various types of aid. This can take many forms and include many of the following programs: utilities and rent assistance, agency referrals, clothing and furniture vouchers, and temporary lodging. For more information, go to svdbmiddleboro.org. May the good Lord bless you and keep you safe.
All right.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association.
1 minute. Back from commercial break. And then I'll just do this story real quick.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about it.
So if I said we're going to segue and talk about this next week, you have to do a little homework on this,
Yes. Yes. All right. Today's 23rd.
Because what you wrote is great. You did a really good job writing that.
Hold on. I'm looking at my Today in Histories. We got a lot of Today in Histories. So you know what? I'm going to push that back to next week.
What, that container thing?
Yeah, I'm going to push
Okay.
that back to next week.
All
We have a lot of Today in
How
Histories.
much time do I have to?
You'll have about 6 minutes, probably.
All right.
6 or 7 minutes.
I'm not sure if I'm going to need that. I might take 3 and then you can...
I'll do my Today in Histories because we got plenty here. Today in Histories. We got 4.
Alright,
and
try
they're
to be done at right 8 o'clock, dude.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Gotta do, you know?
Yep.
8 o'clock, man. It's one thing Jim DuPont does is he's off at 8. make sure that
He's pretty good at it. I do sometimes see that he goes a minute over or two. But
yeah, but no.
He's pretty good at it.
You always go over though.
No, I don't.
You always over the line.
I don't. I always don't.
8:05. You know. I
here we go.
got short in the news because I went over.
And we're back here on Middleboro in Review. Don, you have something to talk about today.
It's not really a rant. April 27th, 1938 is a date in Massachusetts history that at least 4 towns, 4 former towns will always remember. The towns of Enfield, Prescott, Greenwich, and Dana. These towns were taken out of existence on that date to make room for the Quabbin Reservoir. That was something that I think back at the time was like unheard of for a town just to come in, eminent domain, wipe these towns off the face of the map. Swift River Valley. And it's a sacrifice that these people made. I mean, imagine your loved one's grave being dug up and moved. Imagine your family house that's been in your family for generations. I mean, most of these towns were over 100 years old. I think Greenwich was 1739, so that was around for a while. They had a railroad that went through, stopped at Dana. And it's ultimate sacrifice for those people that they had to move out and relocate their lives for the greater good of man. City of Boston was getting big. It was the reservoir, I believe, that was in Boylston, Mass. Was the reservoir at that point in time, and they needed more water. The city was growing. So they needed to think ahead. And plus, most of the construction was done in the 30s during the Depression. The legislature ruled those towns out of existence in 1927. So that's the sacrifice that these people made to have that beautiful body of water and have plenty of drinking water. It's one of the most revered water supplies in the country, is the Quabbin Reservoir. Take a ride up there. You can go in there and check it out. There's some areas where you can rent boats and go fishing or whatnot. There's a big MDC area where they have walking trails and green spaces there. But the ultimate sacrifice for these people, just say, you're out of here. They gave a fair market value. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't great. Now I think if you got uprooted, that give you more than fair market value, just so you wouldn't jump up and down. But a lot of these towns they weren't powerful towns as far as influence, and it was right in the middle of the Swift River Valley. So next time you walk in your home, or say you have had a home in your family for years, just try to imagine what it'd be like for the state to come in and just take it away. Maybe I mean, a lot of people were bitter about it, but at the end of the day, we have more drinking water than we have a lot of drinking water. We were not scrambling for drinking water. So back then it was a painful decision. I'm sure even the legislators had a tough time doing it in their hearts, but they knew that in the future they needed to take care of that. I just want to segue into it because Joey wrote a great piece 2 years ago about the lost river, the lost towns of the Quabbin.
Yep.
And other towns that were taken out of existence. So I read your little article last night, and we talked about other towns in Massachusetts that were taken out of existence, lost their charter, no longer a town. So that date, was pretty significant. That date just changed everything. That date was something that a lot of families will never forget. A lot of tradition gone, They bulldozed They bulldozed every building. But a lot of the houses. Some of the houses were moved, but some they couldn't move. And there used to be a railroad that went through there. So
We're going to talk about that next week.
we'll talk about that next week, but it's a sacrifice.
All right, today in history. Got a couple of important today in histories, plus a Massachusetts today in history. 1909, the RMS Republic, a passenger ship of the White Star Line, becomes the first ship to use the CQD distress signal after colliding with another ship, the SS Florida, off the Massachusetts coastline. This event kills 6 people. The Republic sinks the next day. 1986, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducts its first members: Little Richard, Chuck Berry, James Brown, Ray Charles, Sam Cooke, Fats Domino, the Everly Brothers, Buddy Holly, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Elvis Presley. Big names there. And this was back in the day where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. As now we...
It got... I don't know
what happened.
I don't know what happened with that.
Because Jay-Z's in it now. Tupac's in it now for some reason. So, I don't know what happened.
I think it lost its charter a little bit. And we went there, and it wasn't too... Were you impressed with that place?
It wasn't too bad.
You know what? You know what I thought was the best
I don't know.
out of everything there? Johnny Cash's tour bus. Remember we went?
Yes, yeah, they had that. That was cool. Yes, that was cool.
It was a 1980 MCI luxury bus.
I think some of they had a little bit too much stuff for some people in there.
And not enough for other people.
And not enough for other people.
Yeah.
Like they had a whole room of John Mellencamp stuff, and then they had like small rooms of other stuff that are... I'm sorry, but some of these people who had smaller areas are much bigger than John Mellencamp.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I mean, that's just how it is. But John Mellencamp, I think, had a huge room.
I guess, for all fairness, I think it's what they can get.
Yeah.
And maybe there was a lot of John Mellencamp memorabilia that they will get their hands on. But I mean...
And I'm not saying, John Mellencamp doesn't deserve it. I love John Mellencamp. He's a great guy. Definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Definitely deserves to be Hall of Fame. He's a great guy, all around great musician and all around great person. I resonate with him personally. He suffers from the same thing that I do, and spina bifida, and I resonate with him on a personal level. So yeah. But that was the first
we should go
class.
Back. We should go back. I think we were more interested in... I tried to take you to Brown Stadium and you snubbed it. You were like the biggest snob I've ever met. I said, look at Brown Stadium. You're like, huh? You didn't even look at it.
I don't know.
I was like, still the NFL Stadium, but you snubbed it. You were like,
I don't know. I guess I was more interested in the Hall of Fame. I don't know.
No, you were snooty and snotty about that, though.
Anyway, so that was the first class of the Hall of Fame, and today it's a little different, but still, they have people that go into the Hall of Fame that are big names still. I think Iron Maiden will at some point go in there. They haven't yet, but they will, I think, at some point. There's some other ones.
Who knows? I mean, I remember when Rush was inaugurated, and then the guitarist Alex Lifeson. You know what what his whole speech was? What? You remember?
I don't remember.
He just went blah 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 blah.
I don't
blah,
remember.
Blah. And Neil Peart and Geddy Lee were looking at him. Like, all right.
Anyway,
so that in a way that was like, to him, this was like, it was almost a protest thing because it was, to him, it was a waste of time. And it's just like, it took that long for Rush to get into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, 2018, a 7.9 magnitude earthquake occurs in the Gulf of Alaska. It is tied for the 6th largest earthquake ever recorded in the United States. But there are no reports of significant damage or fatalities, which is really good news.
What year was that?
2018.
Oh, yeah.
To have an earthquake of that magnitude and to not have significant damage.
For anybody that have anybody who's older and felt that earthquake in 2018 brings back memories of 1964.
Yes.
When Alaska was devastated.
Okay, birthday is 1737. John Hancock, American general and politician, the first ever governor of Massachusetts. Deaths on this day: Johnny Carson, American talk show host, TV personality, and producer. 2016, Jimmy Bain, Scottish bassist. He played bass for Rainbow on the really famous Rainbow Rising album. And 2021, last year, Larry King, American journalist and talk show host. All right, that'll do it for today's program. It is 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
It is 8 o'clock. We gotta go.
Gotta go.
And we will talk to everyone next week. Quabbin Reservoir talk next week. I'm going to read a little thing that I wrote up about it, and we'll talk a little bit about that next week. So join us next week, January 30th, 2022. We'll be back. Everybody, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Ah, boy. Good show.
Yeah, we probably should give the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a second chance. I mean, I don't know.
When we go out to North Dakota, we'll stop there, right? So when we go to North Dakota, when do you want to go?
I don't know. I mean, whenever you want to. I mean, this summer
We're
would be
going to rent
cool.
a car and drive out. We can't go over to California.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even Grandpa.
Oh,
did go.
At 14 Church Green. We are AM 1530, WBBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W250.
Bye-bye, everybody.